What if? What if? It's a question of what if. Every promoter's going to ask himself that, but let me ask you guys. What if Tyson Fury and Jon Jones wanted to box? Would Dana allow it? And I've heard so many people say no, and they've even dismissed no, of course not. What do you mean, what do you mean no? What do you mean no, of course not? Oh, no, Dana's MMA promoter. He wants to promote it. He's not going to co-promote with anybody. Okay, great, but why can't he promote a boxing match? I mean, what are you saying there? And what makes you think he won't co-promote? I mean, there's a lot of things on it, and I only ask you these really basic questions because I want to trace it back until you say what you really think, which is Dana told Francis no. He made it very clear about his fighters boxing, so of course that's going to apply here. No, it's not. It would be the opposite. You would have an extra motivation to do it. You would have an extra motivation to stick this in the ass of the guy that just left you. Sure you would. And I don't know that they're going to go in that direction. Jon Jones did an interview over the weekend, and he said, just to make this clear, I will go box Tyson Fury. I believe Jon. I think Jon would go box him. Yeah. I don't think he'd have something stupid in there either where we make it to the 5th round, kicks are allowed, or whatever. I think he would just go box him. Tyson Fury does not appear to have a promoter. Jon does. Jon is a promoter who said, I'll do it and I'll put up the money. They didn't even say what the money was. He said, I'll put it up the money. He literally said, we will figure it out. You call me, you tell me, and we will figure it out. Open check. It's an open checkbook. But if somewhere they want to just agree on the rules of boxing, I will share for you, believing that you already have an answer, you don't. Particularly in the wake of Jon saying he's going to retire after his next one. And his next one, by the way, they've been working on for over a year and still can't seem to get that figured out. So I'm just sharing for you. He's going to retire after his next one. He's only done one in 4 years. We have no idea when this next one is going to be, and he says he's walking anyway. Let's just put him in there with Tyson. What difference does it make? And I don't know that the approach that I just laid out, I mean, it sounds a little bit lazy. Sounds a little bit unsophisticated for some of the minds that you're dealing with on the second floor out there in Vegas. But it's a jumping off point. I'm just bringing it to you. What difference would it make? It's very different if you have an athlete that you think is going to fight 6 more times versus a guy who's told the world, I'm only going to do one more. Oh, by the way, you look at his history. He's only done one in 3.5 years. I mean, what difference does it make? Even if he's just going to keep that pace. Okay, so every 2 years, or every 7 years, he does 2 fights, and every 10.5 years, he does 3 fights. I mean, what difference does it make? You don't really have that guy. The guy's not really under contract. The guy's not really fighting for you. One time every few years, right? I'm just bringing to your attention, it would be a very different scenario. And many people will say, I don't believe Jon. I think Jon was just talking. I don't think that Jon actually would box him. I do. I think he would. I believe him. And moreover, Tyson's never used those words. So before you come down on Jon Jones and say that he's just talking, he's trying to blow steam and he's promote, I'll just remind you, he still said it. And right now we have a war of words, but we only have a war of words. And Tyson didn't use those words. Tyson never came out and said, I don't need to, I'll fight him in MMA. He never came out and said that. Even in talk, even in jest, Jon has. As of now, Jon has. I will come over and I will box him. The end. Hard stop. He didn't throw anything on it. He didn't put anything behind it. He didn't put any clauses behind it. Which I really hope that he doesn't. I mean, if all we're going to have is a war of words, we're going to have to debate this thing. And ultimately, the decision makers are going to be talking heads like me. It would be very helpful to our cause if Tyson demands it's boxing and Jon is the only one on the record saying, yeah, that's great. Let's go box. I mean, it's one of these really interesting things. I have been more surprised than anything at the lack of leverage the Fury family has. I will tell you now, when I was fighting, I could have come to any press conference without a prior dialogue, and I could have made an announcement, I could have made an appeal, I could have given a challenge. they would have backed me. Dana or Coker would have backed me. Tyson Fury not only made an announcement, he brought the son of a bitch into the ring. And he couldn't so much as get a lunch meeting. He couldn't get a conference call. He couldn't get a Zoom set up. He couldn't get a text message. It really was surprising to me. And it looks as though we're in that spot again with Tyson. You have Jon Jones, who said he will box. You have a promoter who said we'll pay anything. By the way, that promoter would be interested in doing boxing. I just put that out there. And Tyson doesn't have those things. Where was Eddie Hearn? Where is Bob Arum? Go all the way to Don King. I don't know who is promoter. I don't know the foggiest idea who promotes these guys. But you don't have a promoter with some distribution, some money, some cameras, some contracts that is willing to back the biggest draw that they have in a match that he most certainly should win? That's a surprise to me.